Hey, hi, we're back at it again. Welcome back to another episode of FutureDrBrynn, where I, Brynn, run you through an explanation of a topic or a concept in psychology that I am acquainting myself with, while I'm pursuing my doctoral degree in psychology. Today, we're talking about empathy and how to cultivate it. Now, there are some words that get thrown around as synonyms for empathy, which are pity, sympathy, and compassion. But these all have slightly different meanings, and we're going to go through them because I think it's important to be specific. First off is pity. What is pity? Well, from my perspective, I often hear pity with negative connotations attached. But we can think about pity as a stepping stone to empathy. Pity is seeing someone else in an unfavorable situation and feeling sorry for them, without really understanding their perspective or what that means to them. A stepping stone. Now, sympathy sounds similar to empathy, but the key difference between sympathy and empathy is that you do care about the other person, but you don't fully understand their perspective yet. It's a step up from pity, because where pity you just feel sorry for someone else, in sympathy you actually care about their well-being, where you now understand that other person's perspective, where they're coming from, and you feel some comparable emotions. One step up from there is what's considered compassion. And this is sometimes understood as wanting to rid someone else of their pain. So a step up from empathy, 2 steps up from sympathy, and a whole leap up from pity. Now, while pity and sympathy can certainly be helpful sometimes, we want to be able to strengthen and deepen our ability for further empathy, which is what we're talking about today, as that fosters true connection and trust. It also allows us to take that one step further into compassion once our empathetic tank is all filled up. Now, I know empathy might seem a little scary to you, as it does rely on emotional connection, as opposed to a distant acknowledgement of someone else's situation. But studies have shown that empathy is part of the foundation of pro-social behavior, which basically just means behaviors that are intended to help the society or others in general. Now, in previous videos, I haven't really discussed why I've chosen the topics I've chosen, and it's either been something I feel confident talking about, or I'm going through it myself. But this concept of cultivating empathy has been on my mind since having a discussion with a young student of mine. I was teaching a performing arts class, and I was talking about mirror neurons and all the different ways in which performing arts can affect us. Like, you know, how a sad song can bring a tear to your eye, or a scary movie can get your adrenaline up. Anyway, I was talking about this, and my student said they just can't feel that way. And this got me wondering how many people believe or think that this is true and that they just can't feel empathy. I mean, especially in a world where we often don't know our neighbors, or we feel disconnected from people in general, people outside of our circle. And from my perspective and my schooling and my reading, it's always been, to me, a skill that you can develop, not just something you either do or don't have. And I think in an age of technology where we have all of these different ways to connect with people over the internet, I think sometimes we can forget how to connect with people in the real world. Because now those emotions that we're feeling might be able to be seen by a physical other person as opposed to hiding behind a screen. See, we as human beings are healthiest when we are interdependent. We're not necessarily meant to be dependent on each other, where you solely rely on other people, or even totally dependent, where you function on your own, that idea of, I don't need anybody. Being interdependent means that we have a nice healthy balance of both of these things. We're there to support each other and help each other when that's needed, but we don't cross individual boundaries so that each person is their own being. We consider other people's opinions and perspectives, but ultimately we don't over-rely on that to make our own decisions. Human beings are social animals, hence the need for interconnection, which empathy helps build and maintain. If this topic is of interest to you, I do encourage you to go read some studies on the benefits of empathy on behavior. Really fascinating and makes you feel good about the human race. Now into the meat. How do we build empathy while preventing cognitive and emotional fatigue? To start, figure out why this is important to you. Why is building empathy important to you specifically? Taking from my own example, I know one of the very tiny ways that I can make the world a better place is just by giving other people the time of day and really trying to connect with them, fostering that human-to-human connection. On a more selfish note, I know that I feel more grounded and connected in the long run when I do let myself feel for others. Basically, if you just believe that empathy can be built and you know why you want to, that improves your odds, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. This is because your first obstacle isn't yourself. Look, I believe you can do it. So I think you should believe in yourself. Now, you might know it's easier to feel empathy if someone's in a situation that's similar to something you've gone through. So start there. Find the similarities. What do you have in common with this person? Also, the world is filled with a beautiful array of variety and differences of experience and people. If you don't understand something, ask questions. Seek out the answer. Try to understand. This can be done with someone willing to give you the answers and have a discussion, but it can also be done on your own. Find novels and books and stories and movies and fiction and nonfiction. Intake content that grows your worldview. Not just things that you're familiar with or you already know. No one expects you to know everything. You build empathy simply by trying to relate to what others might be feeling. Try a few prompts. Try asking yourself, if this was happening to me, how would I feel? What would I be thinking? How might I be acting? What would I need? Then reverse it. Why is that person acting that way? Ask how they might be feeling, thinking, what they might need. The more you do this, the more you build that empathy muscle. Again, if this doesn't come naturally to you or you weren't taught this as children, you can still do it. There's still time. Build this muscle and then watch the benefits unfold. Watch how you start connecting with others. Watch how that tension slowly leaves your body in social situations, and maybe even at home. You're not just taking care of others, you're taking care of yourself. And as my great-grandmother Elsie Yannick once said, kindness is enduring. Kindness makes everybody feel good. The person who gives kindness feels just as good as the person who receives it. When we witness kindness, it makes us feel good. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And I'll see you next time. Ooh, and also, go like and subscribe and do all the other things, and go see those other videos on my channel. I'll see you around.